So I figured while I was slaying the reed, I would tell you a little bit about myself so that you all had a better idea as to where I came from, where I learned all of this stuff, what I'm like, and why I decided to do all of this. So, if we're gonna start prior to this weaving bit in 1998. Yes, I am old. I was given, I got my first boxer dog. So I've had boxers for 20 years, more than 20 years now, going on 25 at this point. I love the breed. I love dogs in general. That was with my husband in Colorado that we did that. I worked as a rescue and foster home for Hobo Care Boxer Rescue in they are in Denver. I was in Fort Collins, Colorado. This was in the late 90s, early 2000s. I also started up a rescue of my own while I was there. So we rescued boxers, and I had a wonderful time doing that. And then, of course, life happens, and we ended up moving back to Iowa. I am in Cedar Rapids, Iowa now. We moved back to Waterloo, and I needed something to do. I am a member of the Society for Creative Anachronism, which is an historical education society. And you can read more about that at www.sca.org. Anyway, I was at an event for that, and somebody came up to me and said, "You look bored." It's always a dangerous thing when somebody says you look bored to me, because then I want to know, what can I do? What can I play with? What are you going to do for me? She put an inkle loom into my hands, gave me a brief tutorial on how to use it, and I was hooked. Absolutely loved it. She showed me how to do the basic weave structure. And if you don't know, inkle weaving is a warp-faced structure, so none of the weft is actually seen, and all of the pattern is basically how the warp lines up with each other. So you can do chains, you can do stripes, all kinds of neat stuff. And I started thinking after a while, what if I took all of these small inkles that I've created and I sewed them together? I could make fabric. That would be really cool. Then I could actually... Wait a minute. Fabric. Sewing them together. Why not just get a bigger loom? Why not get a floor loom? Or even a table loom, something that can do wider widths. So I started looking. I found my first loom on Craigslist, I think. It ended up, I had no idea what I was really looking for. I kind of did a little bit of research and discovered that I needed at least 4 harnesses. So I found a 4 harness loom. I didn't know what a jack loom was. I didn't know what a counterbalance loom was. I didn't know what a countermarch loom was at the time. This particular one, I do not remember the brand at all, but it was a counterbalance loom. So that meant that 2 harnesses go up, 2 harnesses go down. It's very difficult to make an uneven structure, but it's great for twills. So I learned how to make cloth on that loom. It was amazing. It was painful. It was painful as far as my brain was concerned. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I have no teachers. I am 100% complete self-taught. So I read books. Deborah Chandler's Learn How to Weave was my go-to at the time. And it was amazing. It got me started. It got me hooked up. I was able to make a tartan blanket for my mother. That was our colors. We're Irish, so we don't really have tartans, but we do have colors. So I did make her a blanket, and I thought that was so cool. And then I started doing some more research, and I started learning more things. And you know, at this point, the internet. This was in 2004 that I first got that loom, and it was a couple of years before I was able to actually get the first couple of projects off. But I kept learning, and I kept reading things, and I have books, and I had. I finally found the internet that had lots of different options for me to learn, and that is how I learned how to weave. I am self-taught. I did not, and maybe that's one of the reasons why I do things a little oddly. Nobody taught me the right or wrong way. I just kind of figured out this is the way that works for me, and so I did that. Now, that said, there is no right or wrong way to do any of this. There are tips, there are tricks, but if you find a way to warp your loom or thread your heddles or slay your reed or even sit and do your weaving and holding your shuttle that works for you, go for it. There is nobody that can tell you that you're wrong if it works for you. Weaving is, it's a pleasure. It's not supposed to be a chore. It is supposed to be a pleasure. And it is a pleasure for me. I enjoy looking at my looms. I enjoy looking at the strings. It's wonderful. Now, that said, you probably have gone through some of my other things on my channel and noticed that I had a harp, and I was showing some different things with my harps. I can no longer play the harp. I've had surgery on my hand, which did nick a nerve. I've had surgery on this hand, which does cause cramping, so I can no longer play a harp. Weaving was actually not a thing for almost an entire year. In August of 2018, I was struck T-boned by another car that decided that the red light didn't mean anything to them, so they ran through the red light just as I was going through the intersection. I clonked my head on the window and ended up with a concussion and severe vestibular issues. So I couldn't watch TV for very long, and looking at string just, I mean, it gave me such a migraine headache that I had to close my eyes after 5 minutes of even looking at the loom. It took me a year of physical therapy and eye therapy to retrain my brain so that I could do this again. And let me tell you, the first time I was able to sit behind the loom for more than an hour, I was so ecstatic, I cried. I cried so hard. I was so happy that I could finally weave again. A year for a weaver, not being able to weave with all of my toys, that was really hard. Okay, toys. I have, since you've probably seen that I've got a couple of different looms. I showed you how to wind a warp from to do a back to front weave on my Baby Mac, my 24-inch 8 harness Maycumber. This loom is a 40-inch 10 harness Maycumber, although to be honest, I haven't used 10 harnesses yet. I'm still stuck on 8. I would like to do a couple of 12 harness projects, but I really don't think I need to get another loom right now. I want one, but I shouldn't. I have multiple inkle looms and 2 harness looms and tablet weaving looms, and I have another 20-inch 6 harness Baby Mac Maycumber that I will actually take to events and show people at events and demonstrate and allow them to sit at my loom and weave different structures so that they can see if weaving is something for them or if they just want to stick around with the inkle weaving, which was definitely more period, but if you really want to get into that, I can certainly get into when floor looms came into being and tapestry looms, and I have not yet tried tapestry. I'm interested, but I have too much to go on. before I start on that. I am an introvert. I do like to just kind of hang out at the house and play with my looms and play with my dogs and whatnot. My husband works second shift. He's a bartender. So I get a lot of alone time, which is amazing. But I do enjoy talking to people. I do enjoy seeing people. But afterwards, what being an introvert means is that I need my downtime after that. So if I go to an event, don't talk to me the next day. I need to relax the next day. I need to chill out. I need to replenish my energy the next day. I have no children. I have dogs. I have 3. I have a boxer who is 3.5 years old now. I have a Rhodesian Ridgeback who is 10.5 years old. She is the matron of the group. And my husband decided quite recently that we needed a 3rd dog. So we have a fuzzy something, which we did a DNA test on and we rescued him. He is 4.5 months old now. He is German Shepherd, Poodle, a little bit of Husky, and Golden Retriever, all mixed into one. He is amazingly smart, which is scary. He is scary smart. But he is a very well-behaved puppy, and he potty trained himself within probably a week. As soon as he was strong enough to be able to open the dog door. Yep, potty trained himself. It was great. So that's a little bit about me. As you can see, I can talk and play with my loom at the same time. I am very close to being done with the threading, and then I have an event to go to this afternoon, so you won't see me until later. But then I will show you how I tie this onto my cloth beam when I get back. Thanks!